Well, hi everyone, it's Pete here from the Pain Toolkit, and I'm back here with another uh, recording another video of my good friend Katherine Brain down there in New South Wales, Newcastle, in fact, in New South Wales, down around the corner in
Yes.
Australia. Good morning to you, or good evening to you, Katherine. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be back and looking forward to answering some of the questions on different nutrition myths and misconceptions.
Well, listen, it's good to have you back actually, but before we crack on, do you want to, just so perhaps people haven't seen the other videos, but would you like to just sort of explain just briefly, what you actually do and what's your expertise, etc.
Yeah, for sure. So I have a lot of different roles, but my real area of interest and passion is bridging the gap between nutrition and chronic pain. So I've done a lot of research looking at how nutrition can help people improve their pain experiences. And having lived experience of pain myself, I think I'm quite passionate about trying to share that knowledge and experience with other people as well.
Okay. Well, for those of you who haven't seen the other two videos, we a few weeks ago we recorded a couple of videos about the best foods to eat if you're living with pain, and also the best foods to eat if you're living with cancer. And in those videos, we did ask for people who watched those to send in some questions, like, so we could do like a bit of a follow up. So what we do today is we've got those questions, about two or three of them, and I'll ask Katherine. I'll just read out the questions and then she will answer. So let's start with the first one. So someone says that she was saying that a lady who wrote in, she said about having fatigue and brain fog, as people with pain and fibromyalgia can, you know, they can get brain fog. Look, when you live with pain, you do get a bit of brain fog, and even though I'm an older person now, I get a bit of brain fog from time to time. And she says, I know that iron and rich foods can, like eggs and leafy green veg, etc., are useful for fatigue, but nothing specifically for brain fog. Is there any good foods there for people with brain fog and dealing with fatigue?
I think it's really coming back to eating well and eating a variety of different nutrients. So iron can be quite helpful with fatigue, but it's important not to eat too much iron as well. It can actually be quite toxic. So if we're eating good wholesome foods, so a mix of different colored vegetables, whole grains, some meat and fish, and different things like that, we're going to incorporate all the nutrients our body needs. We often eat food rather than we don't really talk about eating iron or eating calcium or eating certain nutrients. We eat food and it all works. All the nutrients in all the foods work together to help reduce inflammation in the body and help to give us that little bit more energy in the day. So, um, as much as what to eat, it's also important to think about how to eat. So, trying to make some different changes to make things really quick and easy. So, if you're feeling tired or not really feeling like eating well, you might have something pre prepared in the freezer or utilize some of the frozen veggies in the supermarket. Trying to think of things to make some shortcuts in the kitchen, I suppose.
Now, you mentioned the word meat. Now, I'm just sort of going to back it up here a little bit, because
Yeah,
there may be some people watching or listening who may not be. There may be I've become a non-meat eater because I'd like to think I was a vegetarian, but I'm not. I still eat fish, etc.
yeah.
I'm now I don't eat meat. So, is there a sort of as we us non-meat eaters, what could we substitute meat with?
Yeah, so I think it's like you said, fish is a really great source of protein, also contains iron and really high in those healthy fats like omega-3s. So fish is a really good source of nutrients. Mentioned eggs earlier, leafy green vegetables, but also legumes as well. So lentils, chickpeas, those sorts of things. They don't probably get as much attention and as much spotlight as a really good nutritious food option as they probably should. They're quite high in fiber and they're also quite high in protein. So they're a really good source of nutritious nutrients, I should say, that you can incorporate into your eating patterns.
Okay, so if you're you're a vegetarian, go for the lentils options, yeah?
Yeah, yep.
Okay. Okay, so the other one, other question come up is she says debunking myths. I've been recommended for pain to have green juices, keto diet. Am I saying it right?
Keto diet, yeah.
Keto diet, gluten-free diet, and turmeric capsules says as for the last two, reduce inflammation. So where are we with that?
Well, if I start with juice, I think there's a lot of a lot of publicity and media around drinking juices, but it's actually a lot better to eat the fruit itself. In one glass of orange juice, you've probably got the juice of 8 oranges, and you're probably not going to sit down and eat 8 oranges in one sitting, but you would drink a glass of juice.
Mm.
So eating the whole fruit is a lot better. You get the fiber and the other nutrients from it, and less sugar, really, as well. So definitely, I'd eat whole fruits over fruit juice. The keto diet is a diet that's really high in fat and really low in carbohydrates. It's used for young children with epilepsy. It can help in those situations. It can also help in, weight loss, but in the very short term, and it's not a sustainable diet over a long period of time. If you think about eating cream and butter, and a lot of those very high fat foods, they're the sorts of foods that you'd be eating most of the time, and it's not very pleasant to do that. I haven't found any evidence to suggest it helps with chronic pain or fatigue. So I probably would stick to some of your healthier anti-inflammatory type foods, like, whole grains, fish, veggies, that type of thing.
I remember you telling me last time the brightly coloured foods like veggies and fruits and whatnot are really useful. I've really taken it on actually, and been eating more going for the brightly coloured stuff, like and what I've also been growing vegetables in the during the summer, but it's just coming into our
Yeah,
all of a sudden. But yeah, I really understand that. But then when I've been shopping and been down the supermarket, but I took I don't know that for me I took it on board. I've been looking for the brightly coloured stuff, and
yeah.
they're the good, it's the good stuff for you. Yeah.
Yeah. I often sort of say, eat a rainbow of different fruit and veggies because each color has different, antioxidants in there that really help our body to function. And we don't need antioxidants to survive, but they really help to enhance and, help our bodies to work better than what they might do otherwise. So yeah, if you find a new veggie or a new fruit or something in the supermarket that you haven't tried before, give it a go and see what you think.
I've been I haven't eaten one myself yet. I've been giving them away though. I grew some cucumbers, but they're round.
Oh, yep.
My next door neighbour Tim, he's very vinegary or something like that. But
Yeah.
I've yet to have one myself. But I gave a couple of away this morning to Dave and Ben down the gym, like some way to get their
Yeah.
feedback. Uh,
Yeah, I must say cucumbers are not my favorite veggie. I'm not a huge fan of cucumbers, but a lot of other things. Yeah, and I know everyone, there's Brussels sprouts get a bad rap, and I'm sure everyone has things that they don't like, but try and be as diverse as possible.
I like Bubman. I like my sprouts because I don't. Do you know what Bubman squeak is?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, I am the number one dude here, mate, making bum and squeak. It is totally delish.
You'll have to send me the recipe.
I'll just Brussels sprouts, roast potatoes, munch them all together, and well, all the veggies, put them all in there for the bum and squeak. Anything, all your leftovers, greens, cabbages, and cauliflower and whatever. And
Yep.
the trick is, I think, is to cook, fry it until you get them crispy bits on the end. But what I tend to
Yep.
do is I let it rest, and then I
Yep.
think it all tastes better when you recook it the next day, like fry it up a little bit, But
Yeah. Yep.
lovely, totally delish, baby.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go on to the last one. To go, she's asking about gluten-free should be used if you're intolerant. I'm not sure the next word. Celiac, is it? Um,
Celiac.
oh, celiac.
Yeah.
Intolerant, celiac, and whole fruits and veg are better than juices due to the sugar content. And I think the keto diet is used really for children. Yeah, you said that with epilepsy,
Yeah.
it isn't really meant to be long-term diets for adults. What's your take on that? The gluten-free?
Yeah, so gluten-free is something that's getting a lot more attention. And for some people, they might be intolerant to gluten. It might make them feel sick when they eat it. For some people, it's actually quite dangerous. So someone with celiac disease, their body is actually um, sort of providing an immune response. So it can be quite, you need to avoid gluten if you are celiac. But in all other situations, gluten's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a protein that's found in wheat in particular, and eating wheat products is quite important and, high in fiber and B group vitamins. So unless you have a particular reason, like you're intolerant or um, you have celiac disease, there's no reason to eliminate it from your diet.
Okay.
Yeah. I think was the last one turmeric.
Yeah, turmeric. I think that was come up
Turmeric.
the second one. That one, yeah.
Yeah.
Turmeric capsules.
Yeah, so there is some evidence that turmeric does help reduce inflammation. You do need quite high doses to have an effect. So about 30 grams of turmeric a day will provide you with the active component in that helps to reduce inflammation. So trying to incorporate into your cooking, or you can get capsules to have it that way as well. But there is some evidence to support turmeric.
Well, thanks very much for that, Catherine. Each time I'm talking to you, I'm finding something I quite find it interesting myself personally. I think it's
Yeah.
I think sometimes we take eating for granted. If that sounds a bit odd to say that, and we sort of tend to eat things that are probably not that healthy for us. And and I think it's I always remember my younger sister Marie. She used to say to me about you eat with your eyes, and that goes back to the colours really, isn't it? Look over the brightly coloured stuff, But I
Yeah. Yeah.
find it really interesting how eating can actually help people with their, with the pain, etc., and all the other symptoms that we get with it as well. So I think
Yeah.
we'll wrap it up there. And listen, guys, if you've got a question for Catherine about foods and about how it can help you with persistent pain, or if you perhaps you may have a long-term condition and you're not quite sure what foods to eat, then just drop me a line and we'll organise another video with Catherine and to answer your questions. So perhaps we can call it "Let's Ask Catherine."
Yeah. Yeah. I might start swapping recipes now that we've talked about bubble and squeak.
No, I was going to say it'd be a good show if you start writing a little recipe book for pain, good,
Yeah.
not only good foods, but ideal recipes for people living with persistent pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That sounds like a good idea.
put that on your to-do list.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think I said in the last video, it's just as much as what to eat as how to eat. And so some of those practical things around trying to make your time in the kitchen shorter and easier and things with shopping
Uh,
easier. Yeah, it's not just about what you're eating. And food is there to enjoy as well. We use it to connect with other people, and that's really important when you're experiencing pain as well. So, yeah.
okay. Well, thanks, Catherine. Thanks for. I'm a bit jealous of you now because I know you're coming into your spring, and for some reason, summer sort of run away from us the last few days, where everybody's had a bit of a shock to the system and how the temperatures dropped. But
Yeah.
thanks very much for doing the video again with us. And say, just a reminder, if you've got a question about foods and living with pain or perhaps a long-term condition, just drop me a line. So, Catherine, I know it's your night time, so I wish you a very good evening. And ciao to everyone looking, listening to this or watching, because also post the audio version on SoundCloud. So for those people who may have vision problems, etc. So take care, and I'll see you again. Well, we'll both see you again on another Pain Toolkit video. Take care. See you now, Catherine. Ciao. Have a
No
good
worries. Thanks. Bye.
ciao.